Hello everyone, welcome back. And Barcelona plays Getafe tomorrow in La Liga, so I just wanted to give a preview of the game. And I know Barcelona just came off a huge win against Newcastle in the Champions League. It feels crazy to already have a game, but that's the season. It just continues. You cannot really have that much time to rest. And for Barcelona, if they want to win La Liga with the form that Real Madrid and other teams in La Liga are in, they're going to have to continue to get points in these games. And Getafe away from home, it's not going to be an easy game. The way that they play obviously makes it difficult for Barcelona to kind of build up and play the way that they want to. So I just want to talk about who I think Barcelona will line up tomorrow and how I think the game will go. And first, I want to talk about Getafe because they're coming into this game with 3 wins out of 4. They're currently in 6th place in La Liga. So coming into this game with a lot of confidence, and they also, last time they played Barcelona, had a 1-1 draw. And I don't even have to talk too much about the way that Getafe play because we all know it. It is so difficult to play against a team like Getafe, and the way that they play. They slow the game down. They counter. They just really park the bus as deep as possible. And so for Barcelona, it's going to be very important to try and build up through their team because obviously that's going to be the deciding factor. And especially without Lamine Yamal, someone that can open up a game and unlock the other team's defense, that's going to be a big miss in a game like this. But yeah, Getafe is always going to be a difficult matchup. But for Barcelona, if you want to continue to win in La Liga, you have to come up against these difficult opponents and find a way to get 3 points. And so I don't expect it to be pretty tomorrow. I would love it to be. I would love it to be entertaining, pure football where Getafe and Barcelona kind of go at each other. But it's very difficult to come up against Getafe and kind of expect that. So Barcelona going into this game, I know they just came off a big win against Newcastle, but you can't slow down. Against a team that plays the way that they do, you have to go at them 100%. And so I hope Barcelona are ready for this game. I know we asked a lot from the players to give such a great performance against Newcastle, and a lot of players were playing 90 minutes. I mean, Pedri and Frenkie de Jong put on such a clinic in that game, so I hope everyone is rested and ready for the game tomorrow. And I want to talk about the starting lineup because I do feel like Hansi Flick will make a couple changes. I think he will maybe try and rest some players for the first half or maybe first 60 minutes, depending on how the game's going. So moving into the back, João Garcia 100% is going to be starting. He is incredible. I'm so excited to see him continue playing at Barcelona. And then at right back, I do think he's going to stick with Koundé. It's possible that he would be starting Eric Garcia in that position, but moving into the center backs, I think he is going to be starting Eric Garcia and Andreas Christensen. I believe those are the 2 center backs that he's going to go with. Kubarsi just came off some minutes in that game, and I think Ronald Araujo put in such a shift against Newcastle. It kind of seemed like towards the end of the game he was maybe cramping up a little bit, and he hasn't really played that much for Barcelona this season, so I don't know if he's going to play in a game like this, but honestly, I would really like to have a profile like Araujo in this game because Getafe are going to take advantage of any set piece that they have, and I think they're going to just try and put balls into dangerous areas. And so for that, you need someone like Araujo, and of course, if they are going to counter, I think Araujo's recovery speed is very good. So I would like to see Araujo play, but I just felt like at the end of the game, it didn't seem like he was going to be ready to start the next one. So I feel like it's going to be Jules Koundé, Eric Garcia, Andreas Christensen, and then Gerard Martin. But if Araujo is fit to play, I could definitely see him starting there. I think that would be really important to have him in the defense. And I do want to talk a little bit about Gerard Martin because I will admit that I did not see that much in him. But I think in that game against Newcastle, even though Anthony Elanga did do very well and create a ton of chances 1v1 against Gerard Martin, I think he did pretty well, honestly. So I've been happy with his progression as a player, and I think he's just gaining more and more confidence. And who knows how long he is going to be at Barcelona, but what we do know for now is that he gives 100% every match. Like, I know he's trying his hardest, and so you have to respect that for him. And of course, with Balde being out injured, I'm sure that he is going to be starting. And then moving into the midfield, I feel like this is a game where you give Pedri rest in the first half and then you bring him on later in the second half. I just think it would be a lot to ask him to play 90. And after that game that he had against Newcastle, like, he was incredible. He was all over the pitch. And extra time, he just looked exhausted. And it's such a long season, and we saw how important Pedri was in that game. So honestly, I would rather just have 45, 30 minutes of Pedri than to make him go 90, especially against a team like Getafe. So I think Pedri should be getting some rest. I think Frenkie de Jong, you could also say the same thing, maybe deserves some rest, but I feel like he might be starting in this game. So I feel like it is going to be Frenkie de Jong. And then beside him, I think it will be Marc Asado. I just think maybe in terms of Getafe, I know that would make it a little bit difficult to kind of break through their team without a player like Pedri on the pitch because you're missing so much creativity. But again, I would kind of rather see it go 0-0 at halftime, and then you bring in a player like Pedri. But maybe that begs the question, would you have enough time in the second half to do that? But as I said, it's just a long season. I would kind of rather have Pedri come on later in the second half. So I feel like it'll be Frenkie de Jong and Marcus Asado. And then as an attacking midfielder, I could definitely see Hansi Flick starting Dani Olmo in this game. Fermin Lopez has started more games this season. But I think in a match like this, when you have very limited space, I could definitely see Dani Olmo doing well in a game like this. And this is exactly kind of the reason that you signed him. Because when teams are parking the bus, when there's not that much space in and around the box, Dani Olmo is very good at kind of getting in those pockets. I do think he's just been lacking a little bit of confidence. I don't think he's looked great to start this season, but there's still a player in there, right? I think he has so much talent. We saw that at the Euros tournament with Spain. We saw that in glimpses in Barcelona's season last year. So I do think that he's going to continue to come back. And in a game like this, I probably would start him over Fermin, honestly. But I could definitely see, whoever starts out of those two, it's a great problem to have because the other player just comes on in the last 45, 30 minutes and then has the ability to change the game. So I think the midfield is going to be not Pedri. It's going to be Frenkie de Jong, Marcus Asado, and Dani Olmo. That's my guess. And then moving into the attack, I think that's an interesting one. I do think Marcus Rashford is going to start. He put on such a clinic against Newcastle, and I think you need someone to be able to run at defenders and make things happen and kind of create a lot of chaos on that left-hand side. So I think it is going to be Marcus Rashford starting, even though he did also look very tired after that game against Newcastle. So hopefully he's rested and able to start in this one. And then on the right, it's going to be Rafinha. I don't think Rudy Bargi is going to be starting, but I could be wrong about that. I just think Rafinha, I don't remember. I think he did put in 90 minutes, but he's such a great player, great team player. Like, he will always do everything for the club. So I think he will be able to start this game. But if Rudy Bargi does start and then Rafinha comes on in the last couple minutes, but at the same time, then you're maybe waiting for it too long. And if you wait a little bit too long, you just might not have time to continue to try and break down their team. So I think it is going to be Marcus Rashford and Rafinha. And then up top, I would start Robert Lewandowski in a game like this. You kind of need someone to draw fouls and to have a presence in the box because you're just not going to have that much space to run in behind. And so that's why someone like Ferran Torres, I'm not sure if he would be able to have the impact. Like, you never know. If he does find a couple pockets, I think his runs are very good and his interplay is great with his teammates. But I just think in a game like this, against an opponent like Getafe, I would be starting Robert Lewandowski. That's who I would be starting. But I always trust Hansi Flick more than myself. So whatever he decides to go with is completely great. But yeah, that's who I'd be starting. And as I said, one of the last teams that you want to be facing after a big Champions League match where you just put in 110% to get the win in the Champions League, Getafe is not the team you want to come up against a couple days later. 100%. I mean, especially a team that's won 3 out of their last 4 games. They're a difficult team to come up against. So I hope Barca do well tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, I just saw Real Madrid got more points. I mean, they've won all of their games in La Liga. They have looked great. Mbappe has looked incredible. So this is going to be a big test tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a very long season. I think, of course, Barca will have ground to make up. As I said, I don't think Real Madrid are going to win, every single game in La Liga. They might, but you just have to continue to try and get 3 points in all of these difficult games. And I think at the beginning of the season, maybe some people will look at the schedule and think they haven't came up against that great of teams. But man, these have been some difficult away games where you have to kind of grind to get the 3 points. And I think tomorrow is going to be another opportunity to do that. So I hope Barcelona play well tomorrow. I hope they get 3 points. And really, I just hope all these players are healthy as well because it's kind of a quick turnaround from a big Champions League night on Thursday. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. And I know the Ballon d'Or is coming up too, so I might make a video about that as well, or just might make some shorter videos on TikTok about that. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for all the likes and the comments. I really do appreciate it. It means so much. And I just love talking about Barcelona, so I want to continue to make more videos. But I hope you all have a great weekend. Visca Barca, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.